I'm tired of them saying we didn't spend everything. So I did fund the 3 that I told you, and then I also just tried to fund that. We'll see if it goes through. I don't know if it's going to, because it was actually dated yesterday, so I'm not sure if it'll go through or not, but if it does, hey, more power to us.
Good work.
Yeah, and I have everything written up on here. I just need to get Howard to sign it, and I have, you know, most of the receipts, and we're doing really good. I lauded our laurels when I was downtown with budget advocates, and I was disappointed that Gracie wasn't there because I wanted to talk to her about the paperwork. I tried to send her that bounced back that we talked about, you know, how good we did and how I wrote up something really great. I was like really pissed off it didn't go through. So I have the paperwork, and I'm gonna still see if we can try to get recognition. We deserve it. At the very least, you know, they can mention us, honorable mention or what the hell, but we should get a big award because we've done more work, I think, than any council except for a couple. And I heard by the grapevine that one of the councils that has a whole lot of people going to their meetings and has it full every time is because they also combine it with their, what do you call it, the homeowners association also. That's cheating. You know, so if they're doing that, plus they have their regular, you know.
Dinner of the month or whatever.
I'm telling you, so if they've got their room full, well, okay, that was smart, but still kind of.
Nobody can beat our sheriff's debate. We had like 400 people in here.
I mean, we've had this room full so many times, but invariably, when we've done that, the people that would pass that word on come later, and then a lot of people have already left.
It's true.
So it's like, no! But anyway, I did let them know, and hopefully, I had a list here, but I'm not going to go ahead and read it. They have a lot of things that we did that we know that we did, but I made a list to show that we had the speaker series, and we had the emergency preparedness, not once but twice, and we partnered with the library, and we partnered with Nazarian's office, and we partnered with
the FBI,
Nuri's office, and we had the debates with for the sheriff's thing, and we had other like events, and I mean there were so many, the speaker series. I mean there's so many things that we've done. Pardon me?
Are we still on the treasurer's report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is part of the budget advocates report too. I got to tell you about all that stuff. So same difference. I had to submit something, Daniel, that would tell them what we accomplished this year in relation to what our mission was, what we said we were going to do, and what did we actually accomplish. That's what I'm telling you now. Okay, and we accomplished virtually everything we said we were going to do. We wanted to try to eliminate or at least reduce tremendously pot shops, and with Nuri's help we did a lot of that. Of course, more opened up, but we're still working on it. We wanted to try to eliminate prostitution or get rid of a lot of it. We did with the Mary Magdalene Project, plus with Nuri and her having the John School. We've really made headway with that, and it's helped a lot. And then we were trying to tackle homelessness. We know that's a major problem. And that one hasn't had as much done with it as we would like, but she knows about it, and everybody knows about it, and we're working on that next. We've had a fair amount of graffiti abatement, not as much as we'd like, but still we've had that. So pretty much everything we listed we wanted them to do, they've been working on, and we've made a lot of headway. So I'm reporting that because you weren't here back then. I wanted you to know that this is what we wanted to do. We've done under George Thomas's tutelage and Howard's tutelage and my buddy right here. We've really worked hard to try to get all this done, and I think we owe ourselves a round of applause because we did a heck of a lot this year. And I think that I don't think any other council did it near as much or reached out as far as we did, and taking over that orphaned area I think was just the coup de grace. I think we did fabulous, and we owe ourselves a round of applause.
Thank you, Jeanette.
You're welcome.
Good work, Jeanette.
Okay, good.
Howard is the second signatory. You want to give us a final briefing on the budget?
Yeah. At the 11th hour, I went out and coerced Dunn into increasing our credit card expenditure from $500. Now, Dunn has increased the budget for credit card expenditures in the 24-hour period to $1,000 for 1/3 of all of the neighborhood councils, not ours.
No,
We're at the end of the alphabet, so they'll get around to it when they get around to it. There's a whole 1/3 more that has to get increased to $1,000. Now all they have to do is call the bank and say to the bank, increase it to $1,000. But they feel that individually they have to coerce each one to, yeah. So at the 11th hour I went ahead and spent $2,090.19 on microphones. They're here. I picked them up tomorrow morning. They're not the microphones that we wanted, but they're damn good. I also bought, because we had some extra money, I bought, everybody should have one of these things. We'll get you one, Daniel. I bought 250 more that we can give out to the constituents in the area. They're an adapter that goes into your cigarette lighter and charges USB connected objects.
I use mine every
so
day.
I bought, those were $403 and change. I bought that from Pinnacle. They were obviously delivered, that's why you got them. I bought a roller case for $149 and change that will house the microphones, the cables, and the bases. And Daniel, you'll be in charge of that.
Next meeting.
Yeah, and various and sundry other things I spent money on. I bought DVDs because I've been knocking out DVDs.
How are we on
going out of-
Frisbees?
we still have about 150 to 200 Frisbees left. We have close to 1,000 bags, and we have lanterns, vests, and squeezy flashlights. And out of this year's budget, I'm going to buy more of those little flashlights that we gave away at the
Everyone loves
summit that we had for disaster preparedness. I found a distributor in China. If I can make this thing go this time, they fought me tooth and nail. I mean, I did everything I could possibly do to buy the items from China for 1/2 of what I spent at Sam Ash, and they would have been 3 times as good, but the city wouldn't allow me to do it. So I'm going to try and see if I can do this with China by sending them a check. We'll see if it happens. If it doesn't happen, we just won't get flashlights.
That's life in a big city.
So I spent close to $4,000
Good work.
in the 11th hour.
I have a quick question. Of the 4,000 that was spent, is that this year's funds or was it last year's funds?
This
Last year's
funds.
fund.
Very good work,
It's all
guys.
2014, 2015 funds.
All right, that just about does it. Let's jump right into new business. 8A, the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council to host Councilmember David Rue for our Distinguished Speaker Series. Councilmember Lynn has been going back and forth with the office, and we think we can pin him down for our August meeting. So we're just going to leave that on the agenda. We'll table that till next month. 8B, Connect the Dots, Great Streets Grant seeking a letter of support. The Arid Lands Institute, Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, and Pacoima Beautiful is seeking a letter of support from the VNNC in regards to the proposed grant offered by the Great Streets Initiative being developed on Van Nuys Boulevard. There will be a short presentation on the concept of the proposal. Miss Richards, that must be you.
This is me.
Hello, Miss Richards.
Hi. I'm going to take a moment to set up so that I can project some images for you. But yes, I'm with the Arid Lands Institute, and I hope everyone's familiar with the mayor's Great Streets grants. We're hoping that one of these grants will be awarded to Van Nuys.
It already was.
No.
No, it was not.
No. Only if one of these.
We were
proposals-
named a great street, but the grant has not been named.
Yes.
Oh, that's crap. We were told it went through.
No, no, no.
Sorry.
So we have a proposal in that
Right.
we'd like to share with you and have your support for. We will find out next week whether or not we're awarded the grant, whether or not Van Nuys is awarded the grant, but they're not committed to awarding every great street a grant unless they feel good enough about the proposal.
Okay.
So hopefully this will be a winning proposal.
Just like the one on the Cedar Boulevard?
No. Put it down there. Let's try it. Yeah, maybe if we use.
Yeah, go ahead and put it down.
George,
Yes, sir.
I have to recuse myself because I am involved with this project and don't want to jeopardize.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wish the two
We'll come get you.
Supreme Court members would have done the same thing. Ginsburg and Kagan.
They're seeking the letters.
Okay, so, yeah, so as you know, Van Nuys is one of the designated Great Street sites. And so the proposal is for a stretch of Van Nuys. Oh dear, I don't know why. It wants me to join your Wi-Fi, but I'm not going to bother with that. So we are looking at the stretch of Van Nuys right here. And also, even though the grant technically will focus on the street itself, that's a requirement of the grant, we will also look at activating the plaza and holding workshops in the plaza as part of the proposal. So these are all images you're familiar with. And then, as was stated earlier, the partnership is a collaboration between the organization I work with, the Arid Lands Institute. Our focus is designing Los Angeles for localizing our water supply, and then the LA County Bicycle Coalition and Pacoima Beautiful. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about the proposal. So, as we said, the proposal kind of brings together citizens, cyclists, and designers to envision Van Nuys Boulevard as a culturally and environmentally resilient great street. So that's really looking at transit, including walking and bicycling, also at how we can create cooler streets that absorb more stormwater, and create more vibrant public space and draw more people to Van Nuys and a healthier community here. So again, Arid Lands Institute, the organization I'm working with, we do a lot of very detailed analysis of the San Fernando Valley and how we can best capture stormwater so that whenever it does rain, we capture as much of that water as possible and are not importing as much water, and paying for that importation. So this actually builds, our proposal builds on some of my thesis work with the Arid Lands Institute. So we're looking at, LA now, as you know, is really looking at changing our streets to support more alternative transportation and make them greener. But we're looking a lot to other cities, and this proposal is trying to kind of look at how we can learn from other cities, but also adapt our streets in a way that is specific to LA and to our neighborhoods, and also our climate here. So this proposal builds on the idea of being able to visualize some of what is happening and engage communities in transforming streets through this visualization. So we all know we have a lot of existing kinds of languages on our streets that have to do with where we park and where we cross the street. So in adding to that language, this proposal gives us kind of one-to-one information on the streets about where it's good to infiltrate water. So when it, so where we might best kind of optimize being able to put in things like bioswales and tree planters, and combine that with looking at where we want bike lanes or where we want wider sidewalks, and kind of really ground truth how to adapt streets in any given neighborhood. So it proposes a three-phase process that really begins with visualizing how things will change before and engaging neighborhood feedback, and then getting funding for implementing those changes. So in the Great Streets Grant, all the proposals need to be temporary, but will hopefully inform future funding for making those changes permanent. So for this proposal really introduces kind of 3 workshops, environmental art and community engagement workshops. And the first one would just involve visualizing, again, kind of the groundwater conditions and where we would want different transit. And then the second would invite community members in to kind of add layers to that. And the third would be an actual installation. So we would, once the community kind of came up with a design, we would do a temporary installation of that design, including, you know, bringing in trees from nurseries, of course all of it being temporary, but really kind of testing out the design of the street and documenting that whole process so that we could give that to the city and say, you know, this is a vision Van Nuys has for the street. So, yeah, so the 3 workshops would be open to the public, held in the Civic Center Plaza, but then also there would be, you know, times of closing down a lane or 2 for a day for a workshop. There's also an aspect of the proposal that I won't get into too much, but just kind of looks at cyclists being able to help in data collection in a network of great streets for kind of more robust, not only local street, but network. And then because we're part of a university, we can really look at this data collected through the workshops and through the cyclists and kind of help come up with solutions. So, oh, and one other aspect I wanted to bring up is that between workshops, we're also proposing to activate the plaza by working with you, hopefully, if you're willing, on curating a selection of images and films that explore Van Nuys history and culture. And so we have partners who would kind of donate projection equipment, and we could potentially create kind of events between the workshops that bring people to Van Nuys. So yeah, I will stop there and answer any questions.
I have a big one.
So there's lots of questions.
Let's
Does someone want to moderate?
Okay, well, Donna, go ahead. You want to start it
I
off?
just want to understand these pictures.
Yeah.
Number one, there seem to be a lot of people walking around. Are they going to be walking around in the street?
So there would be 3 workshops that are day long, and on those days we would shut down lanes of the streets. That's actually part of the Great Streets Grant, is that the city is supporting that they will work with you to shut down some lanes temporarily and give us
For that time.
Yeah, does that make sense? So that we can help us kind of envision
And
the
one
street.
other thing, I don't like how the Reseda has it where the first lane is bicycles and the second lane is cars parked.
Right.
And I'm hoping
So
that's
we
not
can-
going to be in Van Nuys.
Right. So the idea with this is that we would be able to test out ideas and decide what we think is appropriate for Van Nuys.
Okay, you can take Jeanette now.
Ms. Hoff.
That's me. Okay. My biggest concern is, well, there's 2. We
Uh-huh.
are, as you know, a very dry area. We can't compare us to Portland because they rain a lot, we do not. But the biggest problem is also that all the trees, they're beautiful. But 2 things, if you don't get an evergreen, then you got leaf problems to deal with. And then the other thing is the city is so far behind in their infrastructure budget. They have $1.3 billion, actually it's $1.4 billion for sidewalk and street repair. However, it's over a 30-year period.
Right.
They haven't trimmed trees in probably 20 years or longer. There's so much that they have not done that it's gotten to be ludicrous. The bottom line is, if you put those in, who's going to care for them?
Well,
Because the city won't do
just
it.
to be clarified, what I'm showing here is ideas for the workshop. We would decide through these workshops what we actually wanted to install temporarily. This isn't anything permanent yet.
Okay, if we.
Because the grant is only, it's a small grant
I
for
know.
testing out ideas.
Okay, I got an
So
idea
we would, just let me finish, sorry. So we would decide together, are there trees, are there not trees? Is shade important enough to have trees?
Yes.
Can we choose really drought tolerant trees, which I'm a landscape architect, so I can help with that.
Okay.
So just to be clear, I mean, yes, we're showing visuals, but don't take them too literally. It's
Okay.
kind of trying to
That-
express ideas.
That would be part of it. The other part would be, and being a landscape artist, you know, or architecture, you know, that we have the drought nice trees or
Yes.
plants that we were talking about, which would be good to put in and would look nice, but at the same time, wouldn't need the water and
Right.
wouldn't need all the maintenance, which would be a good idea. And we love the idea of using the Civic Center area because we want to bring back business to that and people into it and so on. So that's wonderful. But I actually was under the impression that we've been approved. I spoke to the mayor myself and he told me we were.
No, you were approved as a Great Street site, but you were not. I've been working closely with them, so I do know quite clearly the
situation. Well, he
situation.
misled me, but then my bottom line is, we have to find someone like yourself to sponsor it so that we can get it actually then.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, none of us, the mayor's office will make the ultimate decision, but certainly having your support will help.
Oh, yeah,
with their
well, like I
decision.
said, he told me when I spoke to him that it was a done deal. So if it's not a
Right.
done deal, I'm gonna go straight to myself.
Well,
Yes, he did
yes,
say that.
in all the meetings I've been to, you know, ideally all projects would be granted, but they are not committed to
Okay.
granting any
He knows
project.
Desperately needed, so I'll just, he was not at our budget advocates meeting. Had he been there, I would have spoken to him. But I will tell you that the next opportunity I get, which will be in a couple of weeks, I will be down there and I will be speaking.
Okay,
to
well,
him.
they're voting on this now, actually, and making the decision next week, just so you know.
Okay.
So this proposal has been submitted. This was the soonest that
You could come and tell us.
I could come and tell you, or that it worked for your agenda. Karina was arranging
Yeah, it's
that,
perfect.
so I don't know,
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
so hopefully it will all work out. I mean, we actually do have a letter of support from CD6, and we have a really strong proposal and strong
Well, that brought up
community
my next
partners.
question.
So,
Did you talk to Mary Martinez?
yes, we have a letter of support from her. That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
you're saying, okay,
Yeah.
perfect, then I think it should go through, and I'm very, very excited about it, because we obviously need it, and if
Right.
you've got Nuri's support, and you've got our support, and we can talk to the mayor and say, hey, you promised, I'm gonna make him hold true to that promise, we should be able to get it then.
Very good. Do we have, yes?
Yes, we can't be taking an action item on this item. This item is up for dispute, and so we have our Article 11 meeting, which you just said is going to be at the next executive meeting. I have an email from the city attorney's office of the conflict of interest between Carino and Howard dealing with Nuri's office. We have a sustainability committee. I was voted chair on Earth Day, so there was plenty of time ahead of the committee. We also have another community member who wants the exact same thing, that this should have been agendized together with.
I think, don't you have that on the
We cannot
agenda?
take action as a committee on this tonight until we sort out roles and responsibilities, until the officers of this neighborhood council are in compliance to the June 12 email by the office of the city attorney. And so, you know, I'm sorry to waste your time. I'm sorry that you weren't fully informed. If you were, no one's emailed me. But this item cannot be taken action on, and neither can the other item that's later in the agenda.
And why can't we take an action
Well, we
on it?
absolutely can.
So, no, you absolutely can't.
It's on our agenda, yes, we can.
No, it's
You
not.
fail to understand that there is no sustainability committee
This
until
there
I
is-
have the floor. There is no sustainability committee until it is approved by the Board of Neighborhood Empowerment.
Thank you very much.
This board
And the
approved
bylaws.
the Sustainability Committee on April 22nd as a standing
Not this
bylaw
board.
change.
It did not.
And
Not
yes,
this
it
board.
did. And
It
also
requested
authorized
to
you
add it to our bylaws.
Right,
Okay.
that was
this-
it.
This committee tonight cannot vote on what you're asking them for.
Yes, we can.
Okay, well,
It can be.
I'll leave that
Yes,
to you to
it can.
decide. I just wanted to share it with you.
Let's call it for a vote, call
You're
it for a
out of
vote.
compliance. You are out of compliance.
As chair of the government
Right,
relations
the
committee,
bylaws.
I was the one who held that meeting that was
Right, and I took the
discussed, and in that we proposed a bylaw change, and we added into the bylaws an education committee and a sustainability committee.
Correct.
That being said, until the bylaws are affected, obviously
No,
this is
we're
more.
absolutely, I was absolutely welcome to move forward with what I needed to do. The process that has happened in conflict of interest related to this project, the mayor's office and Mary Martinez's office, is very specific to Grape Street, is out of compliance. So you have an email, June 12th, and let's see, Howard's copied on it. John Henry's copied on it, George Thomas is copied on it. I am entitled to a response to my act request. It is not the responsibility of Dunn. I am entitled to attorney fees. I am entitled to sanctions. I do not want to sanction, and I don't want to sue, and I don't want attorney fees. I do not want community members misled, and this project specifically misleads.
Point
And you're
of-
out of compliance.
Yes,
point of
Paul.
information. Okay, prior to you joining this council, we had taken a vote on support of Great Street Initiative, specifically on, hold on, I have the floor.
Yep.
And specifically, we had taken votes saying that we would support the Great Street initiatives, and we had, specifically, we were looking for plans of action that would then update that Great Street initiatives, whether that initiative would mean an Old Town Van Nuys or what have you. We had a bunch of different ideas that were being thrown about, and that we wanted to support that type of action. So that being said, this does fall within the purview of what this board had already, what would you call old business?
Right. It is not. It is not.
Which took
because
place
you're out of
before you were on the
compliance.
board, Betty.
You have failed to provide the documentation for the
Yes,
votes
Mr.
and
Luna.
the minutes that you're
So if I could
talking
just
about.
play vice parliamentarian for a half a second. One, in order to yield the floor, in order to hold the floor, you have to be recognized. So I can't say that I'm holding the floor, I'd be out of order. So until he calls my name, then I'm holding the floor as number one. Number two, if somebody has an objection to what we're doing, and they're recognized, they can absolutely state that objection, but that's what they can do, they can state the objection. And then we move on. Just as an FYI.
Fair enough. All right, you guys, so you guys are asking for a letter of support, and it's been agendized, and according to the Brown Act and
Call for the
everything
vote.
else.
That's right.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, call for the vote.
Do we have a motion
Make the
to
motion
accept
first.
8B?
We don't
I
have a
make
motion.
that motion that we accept 8B as it is worded.
Let's do this just so that we're not all crazy. I'm completely breaking all the ground, all the rules now.
You're recognized.
Thank you. So whoever wants to make the motion, be recognized, and then start with I move that.
Okay.
Use the exact wording.
All right.
Then when the president restates it with the exact same wording, we'll go ahead and vote on that, if that's okay.
One second to read here, let me throw. Okay,
Can we
I'm
turn
gonna find
this
my, hold
projector
on,
off?
I need to find my little bylaws thing here,
Yes.
which was just right here. Okay, here we go, here. Okay. It was 8, which one?
We're on 8B.
Be like boy, okay. Mr. Chair, may I be recognized?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Okay, I, Jeanette Hopp, move that we accept or adopt 8B as it is written, and that I call for the vote as soon as this motion is seconded.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Seconded.
Did he just say clearly you have to read word for word?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You want me to read it? Okay, fine. Connect the dots. Green Streets grant seeking a letter of support. The Arid Lands Institute, ALI, Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, LACBC, and Pacoima Beautiful are seeking a letter of support from the VNNC in regards to the proposed grant offered by the Great Streets Initiative being developed, a couple of boo-boos there, on Van Nuys Boulevard. There were, as we already know, there was a short presentation on the concept of the proposal. Aha Beulah Richards, Arid Lands Institute. And there you go. So
Do
now
we have a
you heard
second
my
on the motion?
Second.
Mr. President, sorry, can I step out for a second?
Mr. Luna, yes.
So, taking a side track here, so the reason that you have to restate the motion is so that it's clearly stated. This would be a perfect example of an opportunity for you to reword the motion. That's not a motion, more of an action item. So, maybe the first sentence is a motion. That includes a motion. The part about, there's going to be a short presentation, that's definitely
Should be
not.
left out, but he told me to read it verbatim.
Yeah, so what he might have been referring to is that we want to state the motion exactly as we want it recorded, because that's what we're going to either pro or nay against.
Right.
So it may sound something like, I move that the VNNC blah, 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 CIS on this matter. Really succinct. If it's a sentence, it's perfect.
Okay.
So if you want to just give it a shot again.
Do it again, okay.
I move that. You don't have to use your name, by the way.
Okay,
It's just I move
well,
that.
it's supposed to be in the minutes of who did it, but anyway, okay. I move that the committee votes to accept 8 8B as so written, and that we.
Hold on. So
State, that's.
So it would sound like this. I move that the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council writes a letter of support.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, I move that the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council writes a letter of support in relation to the Great Streets Initiative grant for the Great Streets Initiative.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
With that, Mr. Secretary, I call for the vote.
So sorry, you have to restate it.
You have to state.
He has to restate the,
Okay, so.
I know we haven't done this before in the past, so I
Shouldn't
apologize.
have to do it.
Council President, permission to speak? or-
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, in light of the documents that Councilmember Nuri Martinez's office provided showing conflict of interest for Howard Benjamin to be sitting here, he can't be seconding this. He's got a conflict of interest. He had
I have
recused
no
himself
conflict of
earlier.
interest.
You absolutely do.
There's no money involved in the first.
I am not gaining in any way, shape, or form from this.
No, it's not.
You have not complied with the code of conduct. You've not with the
What?
code of ethics. You have
What?
not complied. And
Mr.
you left
President.
earlier. You were recusing yourself.
Wrong.
You have misrepresented facts on record against the Brown Act. The Brown Act calls for open government. You need to recuse yourself. You cannot second this. You're a party in a situation where the city attorney has included you in an email telling you that you have failed to provide documents requested on
You
the
show me
matter.
that email where the city attorney accuses me of failing.
June 12th.
Show it to me.
I will. Let me bring it right up.
All right, you know what?
Motion on the
That's
floor.
enough. That is enough, everyone, all right? We are going to address the Public Records Act at the next executive meeting. Any grievances before this council will be addressed as per Amber Meshach and her email of 10 minutes before this council meeting began. Nobody is violating the Brown Act. I make sure that everything is posted and emailed out properly because of what this council has gone through for the last
Correct.
4 years.
Okay, you have
All
not
right, the
posted
motion,
the June
excuse
12th
me,
email. You have
excuse
not
me.
You're out of
posted-
You're out of order.
So
You're
what?
out of
You have
order.
not posted
You're out
the
of
June
order,
12th
Mary.
order. So
Excuse
what?
me. What do you mean, so what?
You have
what? Out of
not
order.
posted this email for the
You're out of
public record.
order.
Take a recess.
We're going to get through this motion, and if a council member,
Mr. President, I will second the motion.
that's fair, that's fine. If a council member does not like 8B, vote against it.
Exactly.
If a council member likes it, vote for it.
Exactly.
All we are voting for is a letter of support for the Great Streets Initiative. That's
Let's
all
go
that's
for the
going
vote.
on. This is not
Mr.
World War
Secretary,
III or whatever
Let's go for
everyone's
the vote.
being accused of. So, the motion on the floor is to adopt 8B, and the Arid Lands Institute and Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition and Pacoima Beautiful are seeking a letter of support. Paul Anand seconded the motion. Mr. Secretary, I call for the vote.
Okay, President Thomas.
Yes.
Vice President Benjamin.
I recuse.
Okay, just a second. Secretary Hendry, yes. Treasurer Hop.
Yes.
Ms. Meyer.
Yes.
Mr. Lazarevitz.
yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Skelton is gone. Okay. Mr. Kamara.
Yes.
Mr. Waleko.
Abstain.
Okay, just a second. Mr. Anand.
Aye.
Mr. De La Cuesta.
He recused.
He has to recuse.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Patton.
Yes.
Mr. Lynn.
Abstain.
Mr. Luna.
Yes.
Mr. Knoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Garion.
No.
Okay, it passes.
Very good. Moving on. 8C, the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition has requested a community impact statement to support the Mobility Plan 2035 Environmental Impact Report draft and is asking the City Council to approve it. LACBC is asking the board to submit a community impact statement to the city in support of the citywide initiative Mobility Plan 2013, the first comprehensive update to the city's transportation policies since 1999. Council file number 150719. Ms. Lee.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Heron, currently from the LA County Bicycle Coalition. I'm the Policy and Outreach Coordinator. I'm here to explain to you about mobility plan and to ask for your official support by submitting the community impact statement. Okay, so the presentation is behind you. Hope you can see it. Before we go into the mobility plan 35, I'd like to introduce to you LA County Bicycle Coalition. We're the countywide bicycle advocacy organization, a nonprofit that works to make all communities in Los Angeles County healthy, safe, and fun place to ride a bicycle. That obviously includes San Fernando Valley. We have 12 local chapters outside of the city boundaries. Within the city boundaries, we have a program called Neighborhood Bicycle Ambassadors. And we meet every month, every third Monday, actually in Van Nuys, in a little city brewery called McLeod, right here, like a half a mile away from here, and discuss about local issues, bicycle-related issues, and organize events, and do campaigns for bicycle infrastructure and policy. So what is Mobility 2035? I'd like to ask you guys a simple question. What was the last time that the City of LA updated their transportation plan? Can you guess?
Certainly not in this century.
No, back in the 1990s or before.
Okay, so actually the last time they updated their the city general plan and transportation element was 1999.
Yeah.
That's even before, and you guys all know when the Orange Line opened, which is 2005. And we didn't have a Gold Line back then, we didn't have an Expo Line back then, we didn't have, certainly a lot of people didn't have a smartphone like we do now, and not a lot of people even used the internet back then. So, it's been 15 years, a lot of things have been changed, dramatically changed, and still the city has been based on the plan that's designed in 1999 when we didn't even have a smartphone. So the city decided to update their plan for the first time in 15 years. So this will be the first comprehensive update of its transportation and mobility policy since 1990s. And now we have all these changes in advanced technology, and now it's time to think about our future transportation in the next 20 years. So that's why it's called 2035. So what does this plan want to achieve? There are 5 big goals. First thing first, the first thing is safety first. So not a lot of people know, but actually one person is killed every 3 days in the city of Los Angeles. That's a very daunting number. And we're literally killing people on the street. And I actually witnessed a fatality accident on Van Nuys Boulevard, Van Nuys and Woodman recently. That was a multi-car accident, high speed, 4 to 6 vehicles were involved. One person got killed, one person got severely injured. A lot of people got injured as well. So, this is the #1 issues that we have every day in our lives, and this is the first thing they want to address whenever they make changes in our transportation system. And if you think about injuries, there are about 100 people getting injured every single day. So that's something that LA City should really address. And the second thing is a world-class infrastructure. So what does that mean is that LA wants to become the world-class city, And we're not, so we say that we're the greatest city in the United States. We have all these highways and streets that connect to everywhere. But in fact, we have a very poor quality infrastructure because, as Jeanette mentioned, we don't have money to maintain our infrastructure. We have crumbling sidewalks everywhere. Our metro system has been decades old and never been updated. Now we want to upgrade it to the 21st century transportation system. And the third point is accessibility. Accessibility means that we've had transportation planning that's focusing on car-centric culture, the people who have cars, access to the cars. But we want to move forward and then give the affordable accessibility to all Angelinos, not only for people who can afford cars, but also people